The night was quiet, and the city lights looked far away. Ethan Ward sat inside his small workshop, wires and metal parts scattered on the floor. His hands shook as he placed the final piece into a strange visor. The device gave a soft hum, and a blue light blinked on. For a moment, Ethan did not breathe. He whispered to himself, "If this works, she will see the stars for the first time." His eyes were tired, but hope filled his face. For weeks he had worked in secret, hiding from curious eyes. All this effort was for a single child, a blind alien girl named Lyra. Lyra was different from her people, born without sight. She lived in darkness. Her kind accepted it as fate. They said nothing could change what was written at birth, but Ethan did not believe in fate. He believed in human hands, human hearts, and human invention. The visor was more than just metal and glass. It was a bridge between two species. It carried codes, signals, and human creativity. Ethan had risked everything to build it. He knew others would not understand. He knew they might call it dangerous. But tonight he was ready to give Lyra a gift no one had ever given before. The workshop door creaked. Lyra stepped inside. Guided by the sound of his tools, her small hands searched the air and her pale eyes looked empty. But her face carried trust. "Is it ready?" she asked in a soft voice. Ethan smiled. "Yes, Lyra. It is ready. Come closer." He lifted the visor and placed it gently on her head. The blue light spread across her face. The device hummed again. Ethan pressed a small button. At first, there was silence. Then Lyra gasped. Her eyes widened, light reflected inside them. She blinked again and again. She raised her hands in wonder. I can see," she whispered, her voice shook. "I see you, I see your face." Tears ran down Ethan's cheeks. He laughed softly. "Yes, Lyra, that is me. Look around. What do you see?" Lyra turned her head slowly. Her eyes followed the shapes in the room, the table, the tools, the shining wires. Then she saw through the open window. Outside, the night sky stretched like a painting. Stars burned bright and endless. "They are beautiful," she said. Her voice broke with joy. "So many lights, so many stars." Ethan nodded. "This is your first night with sight. Remember it, Lyra. The universe is now yours." For a moment, the workshop was filled with pure happiness. Lyra's laughter mixed with Ethan's relief. It was a moment of peace, a moment of triumph, but peace never lasts. Unseen in the shadows, someone was watching. Across the street, a tall figure stood. A red lens glowed on its mask. It raised a small device and recorded the scene. The human had broken the law. He had given forbidden knowledge to one of their kind. Back inside, Lyra held Ethan's hands. "Why are you crying?" she asked. "Because you deserve the world," he replied. "And now you can see it." She smiled, but Ethan's smile faded when he noticed something on the wall. A small red dot moved across the surface, sliding over his tools and stopping. Near his chest, he froze. His instincts screamed. Someone was targeting him. He pulled Lyra close, turning off the visor light. The room fell into darkness again. Only his heart pounded in his chest. He whispered quickly, "Stay quiet, Lyra. Someone is outside." Her smile vanished. Fear replaced it. She clutched the visor with trembling hands through the window. A faint sound echoed. The heavy step of armored boots. 4 shadows moved in the street, silent but deadly. Their eyes glowed in the night. Searching, hunting, Lyra's voice shook. "Who are they?" Ethan whispered. "Soldiers, not ordinary ones. Elite hunters. They have come for me." The visor still glowed faintly in Lyra's hands. Its light seemed fragile compared to the danger outside. Ethan's mind raced. He had given Lyra sight, but now it had cost him his freedom. He knew the soldiers would not stop. They would drag him away for what he had built. They might even destroy the visor, and with it, Lyra's new sight. He looked into her eyes, now filled with starlight. "Lyra, listen to me. No matter what happens, do not let them take this visor. Promise me." Her hands tightened around it. She nodded with fear and courage. Outside, the soldiers drew closer, their voices low, their weapons ready. The first night of sight had become the first night of danger, and the hunt for Ethan Ward had just begun. The night air was heavy, and Ethan Ward did not sleep. He kept looking at the shadows outside his workshop. 4 figures had passed in silence, but he knew they were not gone. They were searching, waiting. He could almost feel their eyes on him. Lyra sat near the window, the visor still glowing faint. Blue in her hands, her new sight made her restless. She turned her head again and again, staring at things she had never seen before. The old wooden chair, the dust on the shelves, the broken tools on the floor. But even with wonder in her heart, she felt the weight of fear. "Ethan," she whispered. "Who are they? Why do they want you?" He walked closer, his voice low. "Because I gave you sight, Lyra. To them, this is forbidden. They believe no one should change destiny. They believe blindness should remain blindness, and they do not forgive humans who break their laws." Lyra's hands shook. "But why? You only helped me." "You gave me life," Ethan sighed. "Sometimes helping is dangerous. Sometimes kindness is seen as rebellion." He looked out the window again, the street now empty but cold. Those soldiers. They are not ordinary guards. They are elite, trained to hunt. They will not stop until they find me. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then there was a sharp knock at the door. Both of them froze. Ethan grabbed Lyra's arm and pulled her behind him. He did not open the door. Instead, he whispered, "Do not make a sound." The knock came again, louder this time. A voice followed, deep and calm. "Ethan Ward, we know you are inside. Do not resist. We only wish to talk." Lyra clutched his sleeve, her eyes wide with fear. "Don't open it," she whispered. Ethan stayed silent. His heart pounded. He knew the voice was not human. It carried a strange echo, smooth but sharp. Then, after a long pause, the knocking stopped. Footsteps moved away, fading into the night. But Ethan knew it was not safety. It was only a game of pressure. The soldiers wanted him afraid. They wanted him to break. Later, when the silence returned, Ethan decided to move. "We cannot stay here," he said. "If they find us inside, we are trapped." Lyra looked at him with desperate eyes. "Where will we go?" "To someone who can help us," he answered. "But it will not be easy." They slipped out through the back door, moving quietly along the narrow streets. Lyra kept the visor hidden under her cloak. The city was asleep, but above them, drones floated, their red lights blinking like watchful eyes. At every corner, Ethan checked for shadows. He could feel the soldiers closing in. He knew they were faster, stronger, better armed. But he also knew the city better than they did. After a long walk, they reached an old stone house at the edge of the market. Ethan knocked 3 times on the door. It opened slowly, and an old, alien man with silver skin appeared. His eyes widened when he saw Lyra with the visor. "You fool," the old man whispered. "Do you know what you have done?" Ethan stepped inside with Lyra. "I saved her, Joran. She can see now." The old man closed the door quickly. "And in saving her, you have doomed yourself. The soldiers are already here. I heard their ships land near the river. They will not stop until they drag you away." Lyra looked at Joran with innocent eyes. "But why is it wrong to see? Why should I stay in darkness forever?" Joran's voice softened. "Child, it is not wrong. But the laws of our people were written long ago. They say no outsider must touch the roots of our fate, humans especially. For if humans change us, then balance will break." Ethan clenched his fists. "Balance? What kind of balance is built on suffering?" The old man shook his head. "Do not fight them, Ethan. No one fights the elite. If they come for you, surrender. Perhaps they will spare your life." Ethan's eyes hardened. "I will not surrender, and I will not let them take her gift away." Lyra touched his arm, her voice trembling. "They will hurt you because of me." He looked at her and shook his head. "No, Lyra. They will hurt me because I dared to care." A sudden noise broke. Their words? A crash outside. Heavy boots on the ground. Soldiers were moving closer. Their shadows stretched against the windows. Joran whispered urgently, "Go now, through the back tunnels. I will delay them." Ethan hesitated. "They will kill you." The old man smiled sadly. "I have lived too long in silence. Perhaps it is time I spoke one last time." Without another word, Ethan pulled Lyra into the dark tunnel. The walls were damp, the air thick with dust. Behind them, they heard Joran's voice as the front door burst open. He shouted at the soldiers, his words angry and loud. Then came the sound of weapons, then silence. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "He died because of us." Ethan's voice was heavy. "Because of me, but his warning is clear. They will never stop. We must keep moving." The tunnel opened into the night again. The city stretched before them, quiet but dangerous. Lyra held the visor close. Her new sight filled with fear. Ethan looked at the sky where faint red lights moved slowly. The hunt was no longer a secret. The whole city would soon know. And the soldiers were closer than ever. The warning had been given. There was no turning back. The night city glowed faintly under the moons. Ethan and Lyra moved through narrow streets, their steps quick but quiet. Behind them, the tunnels were no longer safe. The soldiers would discover the hidden path soon, and then the hunt would begin. Again, Lyra clutched the visor close to her chest, her eyes still wide with new wonder. Every shadow looked alive. Every light was strange, but her joy was buried under fear, for every corner might hold death. "Ethan," she whispered. "They will find us, won't they?" He kept his eyes forward, his jaw set. "Yes, but we will keep moving. They are strong, but we are clever. We know the city. They do not." The sound of heavy boots echoed in the distance. Metal against stone, steady, relentless. Lyra's heart raced. She looked behind, and in the darkness she saw them. 4 shadows moving with deadly grace. Their armor glowed faint red. Their masks shone like glass. "They're here," she gasped. Ethan grabbed her hand, pulling her into a side street. They ran past shuttered shops, broken lanterns, and abandoned stalls. Dogs barked from rooftops, startled by the sudden rush. The soldiers split apart. 2 moved on the rooftops, 2 stayed on the ground. Their voices carried through the night in a language cold and sharp. Drones flew above, red beams sweeping across the streets. "Stay low," Ethan whispered, pushing Lyra into an alley. The 2 of them crouched behind a pile of crates. A red beam slid across the walls, missing them by inches. Lyra held her breath. Her hands trembled. She whispered, "Why don't they stop? Why are they chasing us like animals?" Ethan's eyes were hard. "Because to them I broke the law, and the law is stronger than mercy." The drone hovered above, its light shifting. Ethan picked up a small metal pipe from the ground and threw it across the street. The sound echoed. The drone turned quickly and followed the noise. "Go," he whispered, pulling her deeper into the alley. They climbed over fences, crossed empty yards, and slipped into another street. But no matter how far they ran, the sound of pursuit never stopped. The soldiers were faster, their steps always close. At the edge of the district, Ethan led Lyra into a marketplace. The stalls were empty now, but colorful cloth still hung in the wind. He pulled her into the shadows of a large fabric stand. For a brief moment, silence. Then a voice echoed, deep and commanding. "Ethan Ward, surrender now. You cannot escape." Lyra's blood turned cold. She looked at Ethan with panic. "They know your name." Ethan pressed a finger to his lips, urging silence. He peeked through the cloth. The soldiers stood at the edge of the marketplace, their armor gleaming under the moonlight, weapons drawn, their eyes glowing. One of them raised a small device. A hologram of Ethan's face appeared in the air. Red letters surrounded it. "Wanted, forbidden," Lyra whispered. "What will we do?" Ethan's voice was calm but sharp. "We run, and if we cannot run, we fight." The soldiers spread out. 2 advanced from the left, 1 from the right, and the 4th leaped onto a rooftop, scanning the stalls with glowing lenses. Ethan pulled Lyra behind him and dashed through the maze of cloths. The stands shook and fell as they ran. The sound gave away their position. Weapons fired behind them. Blue streaks of energy burned holes in the walls. Lyra screamed as one beam cut across. Her cloak, Ethan yanked her forward. Faster, Lyra, don't stop. They burst out of the market into a narrow street, but one soldier dropped down in front of them. His mask glowed red, his weapon raised. Ethan froze. His body shielded Lyra. The soldier's voice came cold and steady. Human surrender. The child will be spared. Lyra gripped Ethan's arm, whispering, "Don't believe him." Ethan's eyes darted around. He spotted a cart loaded with oil barrels near the soldier. With one swift move, he grabbed a small stone and hurled it at the cart. The barrels tipped and rolled, crashing into the soldier's legs. The soldier stumbled. Ethan grabbed Lyra and ran. The chase grew louder. Weapons fired again. Sparks rained down from walls. Drones screeched overhead. The whole city now felt awake with noise. Ethan pulled Lyra into a broken building. They ran up crumbling stairs and reached the rooftop. The night wind hit their faces. The city spread out below like a sea of lights. Lyra gasped, "Where can we go now?" "There's no place left." Ethan's chest heaved with breath. He looked at her visor glowing faintly. "The visor," he whispered. "Does it show you anything strange? Anything we can use?" Lyra closed her eyes and focused. The visor blinked. Then her sight shifted. She saw not just walls and streets, but glowing lines, energy fields flowing through the city, power cables, security nets, and hidden currents. "I see." "A path," she whispered. "There's a weak spot in their net near the river. If we reach it, we can escape their scanners." Ethan smiled faintly. "Good girl. Then we run to the river." But before they could move, a shadow landed on the rooftop, one of the soldiers, fast and silent. His blade glowed with blue light. He pointed it at Ethan's chest. The soldier's mask tilted. "No more running, human." Lyra's heart pounded. She gripped the visor, her new sight flashing with strange power. Ethan's hands curled into fists. The rooftop wind howled around them. The chase had ended. The fight was about to begin. The rooftop wind howled. Ethan stood firm with Lyra behind him. The soldier's glowing blade hummed, blue light spilling into the dark. One wrong move and Ethan's heart would be cut open. Lyra's hands shook as she clutched the visor. Her eyes burned with fear, but also something new, something rising from deep inside. The device pulsed faintly, almost alive. The soldier tilted his mask, his voice cold. "The girl will come with us, human. Give up the device and your death will be quick." Ethan raised his hands slowly, but his voice carried steel. "You will not touch her." Before the soldier could strike, the visor blinked with sudden power. A wave of blue light spread. Across the rooftop, the soldier staggered as his blade flickered. Sparks danced around his armor. Lyra gasped, I did not mean to do that." Ethan's eyes widened. "Lyra, the visor, it's not just for sight, it's something more." The soldier recovered, roaring with anger. He lunged forward, but Ethan pushed Lyra aside. They rolled across the rooftop, sparks flying as the blade slashed through stone. Ethan grabbed a loose pipe and swung. The metal clanged against the soldier's helmet, buying them seconds. "Run!" Ethan shouted, pulling Lyra toward the edge. They leaped down onto a lower rooftop. Pain shot through Ethan's legs, but he forced himself to move. Behind them, the soldier roared, calling to his allies. More footsteps thundered across rooftops. Lyra's visor blinked again. Her vision filled with glowing threads. Lines of energy stretched across the city like rivers of light. She could see where the soldiers' scanners reached and where shadows were safe. "Ethan," she cried, "this way." She guided him through a narrow path only she could see, slipping past search beams, avoiding drones. For the first time, she was not the helpless one. For the first time, she was leading him, but the soldiers were relentless. One fired from above, an energy bolt exploding near their feet. The ground shook. Dust and sparks filled the air. Ethan shielded Lyra, coughing. "Keep going," he urged. "Don't stop." They ran until they reached the riverbanks. The water glowed faintly under the moons. Lyra pointed across. "There, that is the weak spot. Beyond it, their scanners cannot see us." Ethan looked at the fast water, dark and deep. "We'll never make it across before they catch us." But Lyra's visor glowed brighter. She whispered, "No, Ethan, the visor shows me something. It is not only light, it is memory. It is history." Her eyes widened as strange images filled her mind. She saw symbols, alien scripts, ancient patterns hidden in the Visor's code. It was as if voices from the past whispered into her ears. "The Visor," she gasped. "It was not made only by you, Ethan. Your design. It awakened something older. This Visor was waiting for me." Ethan stared, confused. "What do you mean? I built it." "No," Lyra whispered, her eyes glowing. "You finished it, but it was never only yours. It carries knowledge from my people, from long before. It carries forbidden power." Before Ethan could answer, 3 soldiers appeared. On the riverbank behind them, weapons raised. Their leader's voice cut through the air. "Hand over the device, human. The child will be returned to us. You cannot fight destiny." Lyra stepped forward, her small frame trembling but her voice steady. "My destiny is mine, not yours." The Visor flared. A shockwave of light burst. Out. The river rippled as if struck by a storm. The soldiers staggered, their scanners flickering, their weapons sparked uselessly. Ethan grabbed Lyra's arm. "How did you do that?" She shook her head, breathing hard. "I don't know. It feels like the Visor is alive. It shows me things. It listens to me." The soldiers recovered quickly. 2 moved forward, blades ready, Ethan's fists clenched. He had no weapon, no armor, nothing but human will. Still, he stood in front of Lyra. The Visor pulsed again. Symbols appeared in her vision, strange codes running across the sky like fire. She cried out, "Ethan, I can see their weak points, their armor, their weapons, all of it." Ethan's eyes sharpened. "Tell me where." Lyra pointed. "Left knee joint, right shoulder, and the chest panel." The soldiers advanced. Ethan moved fast, dodging a blade and striking where she guided. His pipe slammed into the weak joint, sparks exploded. The soldier fell with a crash. The second soldier swung his weapon. Ethan barely ducked. The blade cut his arm, blood running. Lyra shouted, "Now the shoulder!" Ethan struck again, the pipe smashing into the joint. The weapon dropped. The soldier staggered back, but the leader stepped forward, towering above them. His voice thundered, "Enough, human. You play with fire you do not understand." Lyra raised the Visor high, its glow brighter than ever. "Maybe I don't understand," she cried. "But I will not give it to you. I will not return to the dark." The leader raised his blade, but the Visor's light burst once more. This time it was not just energy. It was knowledge. A projection filled the sky above the river. Symbols, stars and maps unknown. Ethan and Lyra stared in awe. The soldiers froze, even they seemed shaken. "What is this?" Ethan whispered. Lyra's voice trembled. "A secret, hidden inside the Visor. Something meant to be found. Something they never wanted us to see." The leader's mask flickered. His voice cracked with fear and anger. "Destroy it now." But Ethan pulled Lyra close. They leaped into the river as energy bolts exploded around them. The cold water swallowed their bodies. The Visor glowed beneath the waves like a star, guiding them forward. When they surfaced on the far side, gasping for air, the city lights burned behind them. The soldiers roared from the opposite bank, but they could not cross. Ethan looked at Lyra, her eyes glowing with strange fire. "This Visor," he whispered. "It is no longer just a gift, it is a key." Lyra nodded, holding it close. "And now that I see the truth, they will never stop chasing us." Above them, the projection of stars still glowed faintly. A map of something greater. A warning, or perhaps a destiny. The secret within the Visor had been revealed, and it was only the beginning. The river water dripped from Ethan's clothes as he and Lyra climbed onto the far bank. Their bodies shivered in the cold night, but the Visor glowed warmly in Lyra's hands. Its light flickered like a living heart. Ethan looked at her, his voice low. "We cannot stay in the open. The soldiers will cross soon. We must hide." Lyra nodded, though her eyes still glowed faintly from the strange visions the Visor had shown her. "I saw things, Ethan, stars, maps, secrets I don't understand, but the soldiers feared it. They wanted it destroyed." Ethan clenched his fists. "That means it's important, maybe more than we know." They moved into the dark alleys of the city's lower district. The streets here smelled of smoke, and iron broken lanterns swung in the wind. Few dared to live in this forgotten place. But it was also where Ethan had friends, or so he thought. They reached an old warehouse, its doors half broken. Ethan knocked 3 times. The door opened slowly, and a tall man with scarred arms stepped out. His name was Corin, once a smuggler, once Ethan's ally. Ethan Ward. Corin said with a crooked smile. You are alive. I thought the soldiers already burned your bones. Ethan forced a tired smile. Not yet, Corin. We need a place. To rest, we need your help. Corin's eyes flicked to Lyra and the glowing visor. For a second his smile widened, then faded. Come inside, he said. The warehouse was filled with crates and shadows. Lanterns burned weakly on the walls. Ethan guided Lyra to a corner and let her sit. She was exhausted, her small hands clutching the visor like it was her very soul. Corin poured Ethan a drink. You always find trouble, my friend. But this time you've gone too far. The whole city whispers your name. Soldiers walk the streets, and they pay well for information. Ethan tensed. I came to you because I trust you, Corin. You owe me. I saved your life once. Corin nodded slowly. Yes, you did. And I never forgot. But saving one life is different from risking a whole city. Lyra's eyes narrowed, her new sight glowing faint. She whispered to Ethan, I don't trust him. Ethan tried to calm her. He will help us. He has no reason to betray. But deep in his heart, doubt stirred as night dragged on. Ethan finally allowed himself to rest. His body gave in to exhaustion. Lyra leaned against his shoulder, her eyelids heavy. The visor's glow dimmed as if sleeping with her, but Corin did not sleep. He stood near the doorway, his face cold. Slowly, he raised a small communicator. His whisper was sharp. I have them, the human and the girl. Bring your men. Outside, distant engines roared. The sound grew louder. Soldiers were coming. Lyra stirred suddenly, her visor blinked bright, her voice filled with fear. Ethan, wake up. They are coming. Ethan opened his eyes and saw Corin's shadow against the light of the door. His heart sank. Betrayal, Corin, Ethan growled. What have you done? Corin's face was hard. I chose survival, Ethan. They offered freedom, credits, protection. You cannot fight them. No one can. At least this way I live. Ethan rose to his feet, anger burning in his chest. You sold us like animals. The doors burst open. 4 armored soldiers stormed inside. Their red eyes glowed like fire. Weapons raised, they moved with precision. Lyra clutched Ethan's arm. What do we do? He pulled her behind him. But before he could act, one soldier fired. A net of blue energy shot across the room. It wrapped around Ethan, crackling. His body jerked as pain ripped through him. He fell to his knees, gasping. No! Lyra screamed, but another soldier grabbed her wrist, pulling her away. Ethan fought against the net, but it burned with every movement. The leader stepped forward, his voice cold. Human, your time is over. The device will be taken and your crime erased. Lyra cried out, Don't hurt him, please. Her visor pulsed with light, trying to resist. The soldier holding her staggered for a moment, his grip weakening. But the leader pressed a button on his gauntlet, and the visor dimmed. Locked by a force unknown, Ethan's heart broke as Lyra was dragged toward the door. He roared in fury, but the net held him down. Sparks burned his skin. Corin stepped forward nervously. I kept my word. Now give me my freedom. The leader turned his mask toward him. You will have your reward. But instead of payment, the soldier's blade flashed. Corin gasped as steel cut across his chest. He fell to the ground, choking, his last breath full of regret. Ethan's eyes burned. Betrayal had ended in death. The soldiers had no loyalty, no honor. 2 soldiers lifted Ethan roughly, his body still bound by energy. Lyra screamed as she was pushed toward a waiting ship. The night sky above filled with the roar of engines. As the ship doors closed, Lyra pressed her hands against the glass. Her voice cracked. Ethan, I'm sorry, I can't save you. Ethan met her eyes, his voice raw. Don't give up, Lyra. The visor is part of you now. Remember that, remember? The soldiers forced him into chains. The ship rose into the air. The city lights shrank below them. Ethan's mind was heavy, but one thought burned bright. He had given Lyra sight. He had awakened something greater. And now she was free, while he was a prisoner. The betrayal had ended in capture, but the fight was not over. The war had only just begun. The night ship cut across the stars. Its engines hummed like thunder in Ethan's ears. He sat chained inside the cold chamber. His wrists burned from the metal cuffs. Around him, soldiers stood in silence, their glowing masks never turning away. Ethan's eyes closed for a moment. He thought of Lyra, the way she cried as the visor dimmed, the way her hands pressed against the glass. His chest ached, not from the chains, but from the fear that he had lost her. Far below, hidden in the alleys of the city, Lyra ran. Her breath came fast, her heart heavy. She clutched the visor, its glow faint but alive. Every step echoed with Ethan's voice. Don't give up. The visor is part of you now. She stopped inside an abandoned shrine. Dust covered the broken statues. Moonlight streamed through cracks in the roof. She sat down, holding the visor tight. Show me, she whispered. Show me what I must do. The visor blinked, then flared with sudden light. A wave of warmth spread across her face. Symbols filled her vision. Not just shapes, but words, voices, whispers of the past. It was as if thousands of minds spoke at once. Lyra gasped. You are alive. The visor pulsed and images formed. She saw ancient towers reaching the sky, a war long ago, humans and aliens standing together. She saw weapons hidden in the earth, secrets buried deep. And she saw the faces of those who created the Visor. Their message was clear. Child of light, the voices whispered. You are the key. Sight is only the beginning. Through you, memory awakens, power awakens. Tears rolled down Lyra's cheeks. She clenched her fists. If I am the key, then I will not hide. I will save him. The visor shifted again. Lines of light spread before her. A map, not of the city but of the sky. It pointed to a prison ship. Ethan's prison. The voices spoke again. He is the bridge, you are the flame. Together you must stand or all will fall. Lyra rose to her feet, her fear melted into fire. She whispered, I will not let them take him. Meanwhile, on the prison ship, Ethan was dragged into a chamber of steel. The leader of the soldiers stood before him. His mask reflected Ethan's tired face. His voice was deep and sharp. Human, you touched what is forbidden. You gave sight to one who should remain blind. For this crime you will suffer. Ethan spat blood, his voice hoarse but steady. Call it a crime if you want, I call it mercy. The leader's blade hummed, but he did not strike. Instead, he leaned closer. That visor is not mercy. It is danger. It holds power. Your kind cannot control power that belongs only to us. Ethan's eyes narrowed. If it belongs to you, then why do you fear it so much? The leader's silence was answer enough. At the shrine, Lyra placed the visor fully over her eyes. Her body shook as energy surged through her. Her sight burned brighter than ever. She no longer saw only light and shadow. She saw threads of life, connections of energy between all things. Her voice trembled. Ethan, I see you. Through the visor, she saw him chained, saw the soldiers around him, saw the prison ship flying across the stars. She felt his pain, his heartbeat. She whispered, Hold on, I'm coming. The visor revealed more, a hidden strength inside her. A pulse of power waiting to be released. Lyra raised her hands and the broken statues of the shrine glowed. Stones lifted, air trembled. She cried out in shock. I can move the world. The voices in her head whispered again. Awakening begins. But power without purpose is ruin. Save him, and you will learn your path. Her fear turned into resolve. She rose, her cloak swirling. Then I will save him, no matter what it costs. On the ship, Ethan was thrown back into his chains. The soldiers prepared their weapons. The leader turned away. The girl will come to us. She cannot resist. The visor will lead her. When she arrives, both of you will be erased. Ethan closed his eyes. He whispered softly, No, she is stronger than you think. And far below, Lyra stepped out of the shrine. The visor blazed like a second sun. Her feet touched the ground, but her heart beat with the strength of fire. She was no longer just a blind girl who had been given sight. She was something more. The awakening had begun. The prison ship cut through the clouds. Its engines roared as it carried Ethan deeper. Into the dark sky he sat in chains, his body weak but his spirit unbroken. His thoughts never left Lyra. Somewhere out there, she was searching for him, and he trusted her. Inside the command chamber, the leader of the soldiers stood tall, his mask glowing red, his voice cold as steel. The human will be judged, the device will be destroyed, balance will be restored. But far below, in the broken streets of the city, Lyra moved with fire in her heart. The visor glowed like a living star upon her face. She followed the map only she could see. Her steps echoed with certainty. Every turn, every path lit up before her eyes. When she reached the edge of the old landing bay, her sight shifted again. She saw the prison ship above, saw its shields, its engines, even the guards inside. She whispered, "I see you, Ethan." The visor pulsed and energy spread around her. A hidden console sparked to life, old technology left behind long ago. The voices of the past whispered, "Through you, power awakens." Lyra raised her hands. The ground trembled. Ancient cannons hidden beneath stone lifted into view. Their long barrels glowed faintly. She gasped, "I can control them." Above, the soldiers felt the change. Drones screamed across the sky, searching for the source, but it was too late. The cannons fired. Blue light tore through the air. The prison ship shook, alarms blaring. Inside, Ethan staggered as the floor tilted. He smiled faintly. "That's her." The leader roared, "Find the girl, destroy her." Soldiers rushed to deploy, but the ship shuddered again. A hole ripped open in its lower deck. Lyra rose from the smoke, cloaked in light. The visor blazed with ancient fire. Her voice rang, "Out, release him or face me." The soldiers aimed their weapons, but Lyra raised her hands. Energy burst outward. A shockwave threw them against the walls. Sparks rained down. Ethan stared in awe. "Lyra!" She ran to his side. Her fingers touched the chains. The visor pulsed and the metal shattered. Ethan fell forward into her arms. "You came," he whispered. "I promised," she replied, her eyes burning with light. The leader stepped forward. His blade glowed, his voice thundered. "You cannot fight fate, child. That visor is forbidden. It will consume you." Lyra stood tall. "Maybe it will, but tonight I choose my fate." The battle began. The leader struck fast. His blade cut. Through air like fire, Ethan pulled Lyra aside. Together they moved as one. Lyra's visor revealed the weak points. Ethan struck with human will. His fists and stolen weapons slammed into armor joints. Sparks flew with every blow. One soldier charged from the side. Lyra raised her hands. The visor's power burst. Blue. Chains of energy wrapped around him, slamming him into the wall. Ethan finished the strike, knocking him cold. Another leaped from above, blade ready. Ethan shouted, "Left, Lyra." She turned, the visor pulsing, and a wave of force threw the soldier back into the ceiling. The last soldier roared and charged. Ethan braced himself, but Lyra whispered, "Together." They moved as one. Ethan dodged low, striking the soldier's leg, while Lyra unleashed a pulse of light straight into his chest. Armor cracked and the soldier fell. Only the leader remained. His mask glowed brighter, his strength unmatched. He roared, "You are nothing, human. You are weak. And you, child, are a mistake." Ethan stood in front of Lyra, his fists raised though his body was broken. "Humans are weak," he said, "until we choose to fight for someone we love." Lyra stepped beside him, her visor blazing. "And I am no mistake." The leader charged. His blade cut sparks through the air. Ethan blocked, his arms burning with pain. Lyra struck with light. The clash shook the chamber. The leader roared again, striking harder, but Lyra's visor flared with final power. The ancient voices screamed through her mind, guiding her. She cried out, unleashing all of it. A storm of energy exploded. The leader staggered, his armor cracking, his mask shattered, revealing eyes filled with fear. Ethan struck the final blow, a human punch fueled by defiance. The leader fell, his body crashing. Against steel, silence filled the chamber. Smoke drifted. Sparks rained. Ethan leaned against the wall, gasping. Lyra dropped to her knees, the visor dimming. Ethan reached for her. "Lyra, are you?" She nodded weakly. "I'm fine, Ethan. I see more than ever. The visor showed me something. This fight is only the beginning. More will come, stronger than these." Ethan's jaw tightened. He looked at the stars beyond the broken hull. "Then we will face them together." Lyra smiled faintly, her eyes still glowing with starlight. "Yes, together." The prison ship burned as it drifted, but inside, hope burned brighter. A human and an alien child had stood against fate, and far across the stars, others had seen the light. The war for knowledge had only begun. The final stand was not the end. It was the first spark of something greater.